With an increasing price of goods and services, living wage is very important as we determine one's social life in particular. Living wage can be defined as the minimum income necessary for a worker to meet their basic needs. It does include food, shelter, medical expenses, transportation, home and personal loan, education saving and also emergency saving.
According to the Islamic views, a base setting of the minimum wage for a living should be established to ensure the achievement of maqasid syariah for both business and the employee. Islam has highlighted the objective to achieve when considering the wage setting, which are the value of the job and the worker's essential.
Malaysia implemented a minimum wage system in 2013, which applies to all workforce. Most of the organizations take several approaches to policy implementation in order to produce the optimum results, because the aim of minimum wage policy is to protect low-wage jobs so that they can afford a decent standard of living and higher education. The policy implementation in Malaysia is supposed to improve workers' social and financial circumstances. However, it is unfair for the minimum wage standard to pay the same rate in all nations. Research also has been done to look at the overall effects of implementing a minimum wage policy on employee job habits and level of satisfaction. Overall, levels of satisfaction of the workers were all greatly affected by salary satisfaction as employees become discouraged because the average take-home pay fell as a result of the policy.
Next, we'll talk a bit about the income distribution in Malaysia. The income distribution refers to how household individuals earn various amounts of income. Apparently, it is impossible to get the country's income distributed equally among the population. In Malaysia, it is well known that income groups are classified into three categories, that is to say, B40, M40 and T20. As reported in Household Income and Basic Amenities Survey Report 2019 by Department of Statistics Malaysia, the B40 income category was explained as household individuals with monthly income less than 4,849 ringgit Malaysia, while the M40 income group was defined as household individuals with monthly income between 4,850 ringgit Malaysia and 10,950 ringgit Malaysia. Last one, T20 income group was categorized as household individuals with monthly income more than 10,960 ringgit Malaysia.
The first benefit is it can strengthen the relationship between employers and employees in the business organization. As Zhang and Honig stated in their study in 2016, providing a living wage can make it easier for the employers to communicate regarding employees' concern and well-being. Furthermore, a living wage payment also can give a positive impact to the employees' mental health. The outbreak COVID-19 virus has negatively impacted employment. Employees are mostly distressed by the pandemic as most of them lose their job and their source of income. This caused a high suicide rate during the pandemic amongst the employees. The payment of living wage could decrease the level of distress among the employees.
Other than that, living wage will also help in reducing poverty. As we know, the COVID-19 pandemic that just hit the world really gave a big effect to some workers, such as laying off and termination. In addition, poverty should be perceived in a wider perspective, such as not be able to afford nutritious diet, a good education, and suitable housing that is vital for social and mental development. One of the disadvantages of living wage is it will lead to limited participation of low-skills workers in the market. The idea is that whenever an employer needs to increase their cost in wage consumption, they will also try to cut the cost that may be incurred in any way. Due to this, the employers will resort in laying off the low-skills workers to maintain their operational costs.
Lastly, it also has its own disadvantages on people's health. A study conducted in 2001 by Rajiv and Michelle stated that due to the layoff of low-skilled jobs, a rise in the living wage would lead to an increase in working hours, and they predicted higher alcohol consumption among the employees.
Due to business interruptions and shutdowns triggered by the policy intervention, the COVID-19 pandemic has caused a severe economic shock in all sectors around the world. The data of case study related to consumer spending, business revenues, and employment rate can indicate the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on living wage. During the crisis period, national economies are projected to contract as a result of widespread business closure, especially among lower-income communities, resulting in a drastic increase in unemployment and poverty rates. When the poverty rate increases, household savings and demand are also substantially reduced because consumer spending declined, which in turn impacted many firms and they lowering the wage levels or laid off their staff. Many underprivileged households are being pressured to use their savings to survive for their living wage during the pandemic.
The COVID-19 pandemic left a huge impact on household businesses and SME for the living wage. So, there are few initiatives taken by the government to preserve the welfare for all citizens including businesses. To provide support to employers and employees affected by COVID-19, it has been announced by our Prime Minister, Tan Sri Haji Muhyiddin Mat Yassin, about SOCSO's RM600 assistance has been implemented through the Employment Retention Program. Underlined with SOCSO regulation, it is limited to employees with a monthly salary RM4,000 and below only. Besides that, Malaysian government also funded around 3.3 billion to help all SME in facing the economic downturn. It aims to relieve the pressure on SME in terms of cash flow and others. Clearly, we can see that Malaysian government come out with a lot of way to help all parties, either workers, household and SME. It cannot be denied the initiative done by the government are to help sustain Malaysian economics.
Even though everyone have choices on how to set their own average living wage, the living costs for basic needs are still higher for them to get a proper life satisfaction and higher education. Hence, the government should review various approaches on how to help them increase their life satisfaction level. And that's all from us. Thank you.